Hello everyone, it's just my July garden update. You can see the cold frames have some kale in there, which we've been eating. It's going a little wild. Persimmon trees, looking good. It's recovered from this crazy frost we had earlier this spring. And you can see the kitchen garden here has just gone absolutely wild and crazy, which is fantastic. But it's a little crowded in there. My potatoes were kind of mushing my hot pepper plants, which was making me nervous, but I've kind of moved them aside. I think it'll be fine. Everything's come in really well. I'm very happy with how things are going. This happy plant is a watermelon. I haven't grown watermelon in years. The last time I didn't have a lot of luck with it. Haven't really messed around with it since, so I'm happy to see it doing so well. You can also see the lavender is doing really well. This white flower here is milkweed. That's a new one. It's blooming. And this plant here is bee balm. So at the beginning of this season, I had planted, this row of flowers in here for the pollinators. And I'm really happy to see lots of bees. Not seeing butterflies, but I'm sure they're in there. So you can see it's a mix of herbs and different veggies and flowers. And the shape is a heart, and it's kind of mirrored on either side. It's about the same. The cabbages are doing really well. Ironically, I was about to pull them up a couple weeks ago because they weren't setting heads, and I was just going to do something yummy with the leaves. And a couple days after thinking about that, I peeked and they had started setting heads. So they've gotten munched on a little bit by some cabbage moth caterpillars, but they're doing really well. And I love the color. I'm glad that I picked that style of cabbage. And then you can kind of see in here next to that white flowering milkweed, I have a little fig, which I wasn't sure was going to make it after this spring, but it's coming back. Same with the one over here. You can kind of see it peeking out above that bee balm. Luckily it came back. You can see further into the garden here on the right, this huge fig, which I've had for quite a few years. Love fresh figs. If you want to grow them in an area that gets really cold winters, the only variety I would recommend is Chicago Hardy. I've tried a couple other varieties, including brown turkey, which is supposed to work in Maryland. Even when I lived in Baltimore City, in a row house, a very sheltered location, they never lasted the winter. You can see here too, my flower and herb border is doing really great. And you can see I have tomatoes coming up along these metal arches, some squash. Looking good. Hopefully the squash borers don't get them this year. For some reason my cucumbers didn't come up. And I want to say my zucchini didn't come up, or maybe just one zucchini. But everything's looking really happy. I have some lettuce I neglected to pick here. It's probably bolted, but I'll try it this weekend. You can see here sunflowers that I've planted, some asparagus, raspberry, so looking pretty good. Over on the other side behind that tall plant here, which is a sunflower, there are more of those barrels, and one of them I had tried to plant both shallots and ginger in. Neither one was coming up, but now they finally seem to be coming up. So I'll show you what's going on with this greenhouse. I've had it for, whoops, got to unlock it, about a month and a half now. And I was concerned at first, like, well, what am I going to do with this thing in the summer? Because it's going to be so hot, whatever I put in there is going to cook, right? But I did some research and I'm doing some experiments, and so far so good. Like everything in gardening, it's an experiment, and I love learning, so that's fine. So you see I have the cactus collection up here, and I've been experimenting with hanging and drying herbs. I've never bothered to dry my own herbs before. I mostly just eat fresh ones. And then also just kind of piled some mint there just to see the difference between the two. I have so much mint you know, I can play around with it. Then here you can see I'm drying some seeds, some flowers, and some herbs. I do really like tea, and hope that I'll have some yummy stuff I can have this winter. The lemongrass is super happy, as you can see, and I'm trying to root some thyme in this glass. Over here, really happy to see ginger popping up from this pot, and I'm trying to root some rosemary. And down here I have a hot pepper, a Thai pepper. I'm happy to see the little pepper. I had to go in and actually hand pollinate these with a paintbrush. That was something new I had never done before, so that was pretty cool. And then over here, I have an habanero plant. You can see it's super happy. It's actually growing toward the light, and I'm happy to see it set some blooms, so probably have some jalapenos here pretty soon. So back out into the kitchen garden. This little corner, it's kind of the point of the heart. It's sort of my tea corner, if you will. Hopefully I'll be adding to it more in following years. You can see the couple blueberry bushes here. Never had luck with blueberries, but these, knock on wood, seem to be pretty happy. So hope you enjoyed this update, and happy gardening to you.